We say all praise be to the Creator, all power to His people. In the name of Yahshua, the Black Revolutionary Messiah, I greet you, my brothers and sisters, in the spirit of truth and the words of peace. Shalom Aleichem. Giving a special salute to the Black Messiahs. Our motto is stop waiting for a Savior and be one. Stop waiting for a Savior and be one. This morning, coming first from the Gospel according to John, 11th chapter, beginning with the 45th verse. When many of the Jews which came to Mary and had seen the things which Yahshua did believed on him, but some of them went their ways to the Pharisees and told them the things that Yahshua had done. And then gathered the chief priests and the Pharisees a council and said, "What do we do? For this man does many miracles. If we let him alone, all men will believe on him, and the Romans shall come and take away both our place and our nation." Coming from the book of Acts, 4th chapter, beginning with the 13th verse. Now when they saw the boldness of Peter and John, and perceived that they were unlearned and ignorant men, they marveled, and they took knowledge of them, that they had been with Yahshua. And beholding the man which was healed standing with them, they could say nothing against it. But when they had commanded them to go outside of their country, they conferred among themselves, saying, "What shall we do to these men? For that indeed a miracle has been done by them. It is manifest to all them that deny in Jerusalem, and we cannot deny it. But that it spread no further among the people, let us straightly threaten them that they speak henceforth to no man in his name." Brothers and sisters, dealing with the subject this morning, when they try to shut you down, when they try to shut you down. Yesterday I was at an event in Durham, and this brother said, I appreciate the work you're doing, brother. I know they're trying to shut you down. My thing is, if they don't support you, if they can't control you. If you're not running off of their battery, they cannot control you, but they will still attempt to shut you down. Now, looking at the story in John, we see that after Yahshua had raised Lazarus from the dead, many people, the word spread, and many people became believers, and then some people snitched to the Pharisees. And the Pharisees gathered a council of chief priests and said, "This man is doing miracles. He's out there raising the dead. If we don't leave him alone, he's going to bring the Romans down on us." He's going to bring the heat. He's going to bring them people down on us if we don't stop this word from spreading. And from the scriptures teach us, and from that day forth, according to the 53rd verse, they took counsel to put him to death. There's been no leader that has opposed the powers that be. In this case, under the name the Romans, but it could be any powers that be. And I'm really talking about black leaders. There's not been one that the powers to be have not tried to silence. Even after death, we look at the book of Acts, and Peter and John were out there doing miracles in the name of Yeshua, and people were beginning to take notice. Then those people tried to threaten them, tried to shut them down. You don't preach in that name of Yeshua, the Black Revolutionary Messiah. So even after death, the words of a revolutionary continue to grow, and even after death, they will try to silence the words of a revolutionary. Look at your black leaders: Garvey, Du Bois, King, Malcolm. They all, the powers that be, the government and others, tried to silence them. And even after they die, they rewrite the story to make them something other than they were. They rewrite Malcolm X's story and try to make the only thing they say, well, you know, he used to be against white folks, and one day he saw the bigger picture, and he got some sense, and he started talking about the brotherhood of all humanity. He became a fight for the rights of all humanity. With Dr. King, they just talk about how he said, can't we, I've been to the mountaintop, and all his other speeches about young black boys and young black girls coming together. That's the only version of Dr. King you know. They don't teach you that Malcolm was still a black nationalist till he died. They don't teach you that Dr. King, his last words were saying black people need to take money out of white banks and put it in black banks. And I think they were going to boycott Wonder Bread, and I think it was either Pepsi or Coca-Cola in Memphis. King was talking the night before he was assassinated. He was talking economic empowerment. Even after a revolutionary dies or is assassinated, they rewrite history. Since he's not there, they're not there to correct the history. They rewrite history and mold them into what they want it to be. I think it was J. Edgar Hoover that said, you're not going to get another black leader unless we create them. I think it was J. Edgar Hoover that said, well, you're not going to ever get another black leader unless we create him. So if you're out here teaching this truth, brothers and sisters, do not believe for one moment that some entity is not going to try to shut you down. Kwame Ture, and I always like to talk about this point, Kwame Ture said, if the enemy is not doing anything against you, you are not doing anything against the enemy. If the enemy is not doing anything against you, that simply means you are not doing anything against the enemy. The book of Acts continues on. After Peter and John were threatened, Peter and John answered to them, whether it be right in the sight of God to hearken to you more than unto God, you judge it. For we cannot speak but the things we have seen and heard. So when they had further threatened them, they let them go, finding nothing how they might punish them because of the people. For all men glorify God for which was done. The people would not let Peter and John be persecuted. That's why the enemy, they work on the minds of the people. They send agents among the people. And according to Racial Matters and other books, like Kenneth O'Reilly's Racial Matters, one thing they used to do for brothers and sisters in the 60s and 70s who were working in the hood, they would send ghetto informants to spy on them and to report back to the FBI. They would send ghetto informants amongst the people to spy on the revolutionaries and give the information back to the FBI. But Peter and John are saying, even though you're coming against the word, even though you're coming against the truth, you may not like what we're saying, but we cannot speak but the things we have seen and heard. When the people see the truth, the people will mobilize around that truth. If you are steadfast in telling the truth, the masses will mobilize among that truth. All you have to do, brothers and sisters, this morning in your walk is to tell the truth. Bear witness to what you have seen and heard. Especially when the people, the masses, have seen and heard the same thing. Stand strong, brothers and sisters. As always, we leave you with the Black Messiah motto: stop waiting for a Savior and be one. Shalom.